Well, we're back with another article to deal with. Says
Oh, this one.
this is
It's a
on
lot of fun.
PCGamesN.com. They
Son of Luke
say
did a great.
they
Son of
say
Luke did a great deal on this. This is our take.
oh yes, it says KOTOR is dead. Long live Knights of the High Republic.
Yeah, with a title like that, you know we're in some for some fun, as Son of Luke said. This is where the fun begins. So,
All right. As rumors of a new KOTOR game arises once more, we feel a game set during the High Republic era would be more exciting. You know,
and
I would like a High Republic game, but because again, I'm willing to give the High Republic era a chance. Like,
I, I know it has a lot of its fans. Disney Star Wars does. That's cool. I'm not saying they shouldn't get theirs. I do the same thing, but that's the pattern to this article is that he's like downplaying the Knights of the Old Republic and the massive popularity it has.
yeah, like, I do know that it was one of the top 10 best-selling games on the original Xbox.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I'm
back
more of
in
a Kotor 2. I'm more of a Kotor 2 fan than
oh, same
the first.
here. The second game is just far better. So anyway, um, let's read the article. It says it's been a few weeks since Disney announced the revival of LucasArts in the form of Lucasfilm Games, and rumors abound regarding what new Star Wars games are to come. EA has confirmed they're still making Star Wars games, and we know a Ubisoft massive open world game is in the works too. Well,
What?
okay, I actually
What?
do. I think getting rid of LucasArts in the first place was a big mistake, so
Oh,
I do agree with
oh,
them bringing it back.
a lot was going on that was like bad back then. I mean, 1313 canceled. TCW canceled. LucasArts imploded. Dark Horse lost their license.
And then
Legends was going.
finally at the end, the expanded universe decanonized.
So it's a step in the right direction. It's not actually fixing anything, but at least moving away from EA having this monopoly on this is a good idea. But
Yeah, but they should have
I just
kept
think
LucasArts from the start. I heard their excuse was, "Oh, it's not profitable." I'm like, then make it profitable. It's like because I remember
I
for years I was just waiting for a AAA Star Wars game to come out that's good, and it's just like because all the modern technology we have to make games, they can make so many good stuff. And we finally did get something truly great with Jedi Fallen Order, and
I
I still
think
have yet to finish that game, but I liked it. It was really
I
good.
think I think back before 2014 was when a KOTOR remaster could have worked. But
Mm-hmm.
they're doing now, they have to tie it into the High Republic somehow. Yeah, that's why they're so hesitant to touch it because they don't want to lose Old Republic subscribers because they botch it like the sequels. They're done. The Old Republic. They're done for good.
Let's see. It says even
But
this week, new KOTOR rumors have surfaced, suggesting that something to do with Knights of the Old Republic is being developed by a studio outside of EA. This same report mentions a few possible projects in the work, including a bounty hunter game. Well, actually,
why?
they did announce a bounty hunter game. It was like a on Nintendo Switch or something like that. It was kind of like a multiplayer game. I think that's
Ryan
what they're referring to.
Ryan's been covering like the news or lack of news or speculation if they're going to go back to KOTOR for like a year now, and that's true. But uh, what I feel from this is, uh, well, I mean, the question is who would do a possible quarter remaster, even if fans want it. I mean,
Ooh, Obsidian.
Obsidian would, but I just don't think they would. I mean, the companies are going to, as far as I understand it, all have had criticisms for. I mean, EA and its microtransactions to the point that even faced legal action. I'm not even kidding about that. Picked up the attention of mainstream media news outlets.
Mm-hmm.
And Ubisoft has been criticized. EA just they're gonna get someone who won't go outside the management and the agenda. It's gonna be, I think, more of the same thing, but slightly better. I guess if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Anyway, but
I'm going to go read the next part. It says, it's still a bit vague, and while this news has us feeling we're on the cusp of a new golden age of Star Wars, I believe the dream of a true KOTOR 3 is dead. Hope is not lost, though, and some kind of KOTOR-style RPG does seem likely. It's a massively popular genre, and a genre that currently isn't being served by the current crop of Star Wars games. And then they mention, we've got multiplayer games like Battlefront 2, action-adventure like Jedi Fallen Order, and the dogfighting space game like Squadrons, but still no RPG games.
What I'm taking away from this, though, and I agree with Son of Luke here, is not knocking this article, the person who made it, but I'm also saying you can tell they're like a casual who just follows a few handful of stuff and likes them, but also doesn't do the research. I mean, the golden age of Star Wars was a long time ago that they're not going to recreate. It's not the genre that makes it popular; it's the timeline. I mean, KOTOR 2 has so many connections. It has Zeltron from Marvel Comics, Computer Splicers, it has Enderun and Ducks and Tales of the Jedi, mentions Exar Kun and all that. And
Ragnos, Naga Sadao, Frida Nad, like so much stuff.
I've read Jedi Press. It leads to Jedi Press, and I'm like, that's what makes it so great. The continuity, the connections with Matt Wolf in there, and it's the timeline, it's the lore that makes it so great. Not the genre, not the that's the problem. And I'm not saying the fans of High Republic shouldn't get their own version. They should, but you're probably right. KOTOR 3 is gonna not happen. Son of Luke said that because they just don't want to do new Legends for some reason. It's very bizarre.
Hmm. Even though they would make a ton of money, like we've been saying, if they continued it.
We'll tell them at this level. The TV shows and movies gonna do their own thing. When it comes to actually comic books, games, novels, short stories, all that, they can make far more by just using Legends instead of
It's an
throwing it
untapped
away.
gold mine.
Yes, at least for the niche like toy collectors.
And then they end this part with saying, so let's indulge ourselves in a bit of wanton speculation of our own. Knights of the High Republic, anyone?
Now, being a Legends fan, I do get a bit cringe at that. There's been a lot of jokes to a reefer house, and jokes aside, I don't mind fans who love it. I know many who like it, which is great. Always want a more nuanced perspective. It's not going to win over the older fans, though. At least the ones they want.
Mm. And then they say, the High Republic, originally teased as Project Luminous in 2019. The High Republic is a new era launched by Disney and Lucasfilm set roughly 200 years before the events of the prequel trilogy. It was officially unveiled with its proper name in February of 2020, and will mainly feature comics and novels. The Acolyte TV show that's currently being made for Disney Plus will also be set during this time period, though right at the end. And now,
What I
like I said, I am interested in the High Republic. I want to give it a chance. Like, it's intriguing, but I do think they should have said it like a few hundred more years before, like 400 or maybe 500.
I do know one thing. Everything I hear is like, for one thing, EU haters have to have no more high ground at all. I mean, not only do they have Porgs in The Last Jedi, Ewoks, Jar Jar, anyone, but the threat in one of these books is plants, sentient plants. It's right there with the kookiness of the EU, the cheesiness. That can be fun, but they have no ground to like
So
nothing.
they have no problem with the plants, but the Yuuzhan Vong is a no-no.
Yeah, this is not going to be on the same level of New Jedi Order, I can guarantee you. I kind of agree with Warren. I think the sales are eventually going to like peter off at some point for various reasons. Uh, I also think the big problem with the Disney Star Wars books and comics, at least from my here, at least the novels, is that they don't have any stakes anymore. Because if there's anything potentially interesting, they don't
Yeah,
offer it
I
in the
know.
TV show. They
I've
don't
read
offer it.
several of the new canon books, so I can contest. It feels like more smaller scale adventures, like that don't have that
Yeah,
much of a huge impact on events. And it seemed like they were saving like the major stuff for like the movies. Like they're playing it safe to not interfere with that.
they always play it safe. So what you're saying is it's probably like Jedi Apprentice, I guess, comparable if we're being fair and balanced. I like Jedi Apprentice.
Yeah, I gotta read more of those, man. It also says the High Republic era is meant to represent a time when the Galactic Republic and Jedi were at their height, and as such, it doesn't feature a major galactic war or any Sith. It's a time of exploration, expansion, and about a government in the prime of its power, in which the only real threat is from a band of galactic space Vikings, official terminology called the Nihil.
My takeaway there is the exploration thing. They're literally trying to make like Tales of the Jedi, where they're mapping hyperspace lanes. They gotta grab their nostalgia. They need that, but past that, there's a lot that could potentially be interesting for High Republic fans, I think. But it's just they shouldn't be exploring that late. I've seen a few great various fan theories that due to shifting cosmic star positions, in the rotating galaxy, that they have to update them every so often, which would work, I guess.
Yeah.
If you go with that.
And they say it's not all smooth sailing. There is a major crisis, but it takes the form of a natural disaster in space. This is Lucasfilm's presenting the Star Wars universe through a more contemporary lens, with governments adapting to social and economic upheaval rather than trying to survive a state of total war. What do you think?
Uh, I
Could be
think,
interesting, you know?
well, I agree with something Eckhart Ladder said a while back. He think art should be political, and from the hardcore anti-SJWs, there's a lack of perspective, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like, they're going to say it's identity politics, and it is, because it's very ham-fisted. But at
As
the same
again, like
time,
we've been saying, it's more like
make it
how it's
subtle.
told. It's not that it's in there.
Make Star Trek Next Generation was never great when it was ham-fisted. The Outcast was horrible, just trying to shove in this gay allegory, which is fine if you want to
Yeah,
make an episode
the Star Trek
saying so gay.
magazine when they did the episode guide like 10 years ago or so, they actually listed that as the worst episode of the season.
And the romance is between Riker, which makes no sense. It would have been better for Geordi, between some androgynous species, but the relationship is two people who identify as a man and woman. There are no gay actors allowed, and they act as if gay people never existed. It's just, don't do that. When you want to get ham-fisted social like that, you always expose your own double standard. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of all it does. Before you return, I have one last takeaway: is that some people are headcanon this into legend, which is cool if it helps them, but this period was actually called the Great Peace of the Republic. It wasn't called like the High Republic. So, it's an observation.
Yeah, there'll probably be some people who try to think, oh yeah, I can fit it into Legends.
Headcanon is like a safety line, I think, for some dedicated fans. So, let them do it. It's just the same way some people think they're going to retcon the sequels. I ain't never going to.
Nope, never gonna happen.
Filoni developed them. Favreau's interested in exploring the sequel era that they already had done in the extended universe. So yeah, he's gonna connect. Not gonna happen.
Let's see. So this is also a time for exploring the Jedi Knights during their ideological prime. They're not trying to confront the evils of the Sith. They've not been co-opted into being military leaders in a major conflict. They get to be as they believe themselves to be, peacekeepers, wandering knights helping those in need and protecting the weak from those who would prey on them. Sounds like perfect RPG fodder to me, and yeah, that has potential. That really does.
Yeah. If this was Legends, set during this period, so a few things I'd be interested in. Barring George Lucas's EU rules, is an exploration of Yaddle. Because Yaddle's been around for a while.
Yeah, because she was like 400 years old, I think.
Yeah.
She was a lot younger than Yoda.
Explore what the Sith are doing, Darth Bane's Sith Order. They don't have to confront the Jedi, they can just be weaving the tapestry of manipulations. That would be fascinating.
Maybe we could also see like Darth Tenebriss's master or something like that.
What I appreciate so far is that they haven't tried to touch KOTOR so far as a very tentative way, like where you're dancing on glass, which I appreciate because
Yes.
we don't want to lose those Old Republic subscribers. Probably why we don't get new legends. That honestly would not surprise me. We're not getting new legends because they're afraid even one bad book or comic will just completely tank Old Republic subscribers. It is all about the measurements.
Yep. All right. So that says a new order. The revival of LucasArts in the form of Lucasfilm games makes all this all more tantalizing, all the more tantalizing. All gaming projects are now coming under this new brand, and as mentioned above, there's a lot of rumors of potential projects in the works.
One I hear is something connected to the Mandalorian that Dave Filoni is overseeing, which is like, oh joy, what Box Lord's gonna have now? Now for 5 is round. Like I've recently been saying Death of a Thousand Cuts. That's what it does to lore. Minor retcons, but it's the cumulative effect.
Yes,
And
over time, it just
yeah. I mean, what is the future of the Mandalorian? Getting a bit into the Disney canon discussion. Cara Dune's gone. There's the Gina Carano controversy that I'm not going to talk about. Grogu's gone. The Jake cameos are things of the past. I don't know. I don't even follow the Mandalorian.
I still have yet to watch season 2.
Yeah. And go ahead, sure. It's just I don't think it's going to compare to the classic cable era sci-fi. Babylon 5, Stargate, Star Trek.
All right, with the floodgates growing open, we would see a wave of new projects. I personally love to see an Empire at War sequel. Like I honestly would. I agree with that. But you can look at what LucasArts is doing for a clue as to what it may or may not go in terms of a pitch. And what I'd like
I
to see in an Empire at War sequel is I want to see, like prequel stuff, like all eras of Star Wars in it you can choose from because
I
like there's mods out there where you can play, you know, like prequel era, but the problem is with Republic of War is so unbalanced.
Yeah, I never played Empire at War. I tried, I wanted to, I just never could.
Man,
Same
it's a
with the
great
first book.
game.
I never finished Terrace. I never got to the under levels because of computer problems. Never.
Yeah, I remember I had a problem with that. As soon as I got into the terrorist underworld, the game like crashed, and it was because of I basically had to turn the graphics down and resolution. But yeah, let's see. Outside of gaming, we recently had the final season of TCW, which featured some amazing episodes. The Mandalorian is also proving to be a big hit for entirely different reasons. And the recent surge of new Disney Plus shows shows us what eras, topics, and stories the company may want to explore more of.
Again, um, you saw TCW season 7. You liked it.
Yeah, it
For
was
me,
really good. Like um, I really, I'll discuss it more another day, but basically it's the conclusion we should have got to the series instead of, the lost episodes.
yeah. Though it's, it's great. Happy people who love it. Even if I'm not a biggest enthusiast because of the Legends thing. At the same time, I gave my Mandalorian thoughts. I really wonder what's gonna happen from here on out. Even the cartoon action figures are being like rushed to be canceled. I mean, production canceled. You're not gonna get into any political commentary.
Yeah.
Just like people are dark times. You know what? Dark times before Disney.
Let's see what else they say. And of course, there's the aforementioned or mentioned High Republic. There's currently no games associated with this new brand, so the moment feels ripe. I also honestly like how easily Knights of the High Republic rolls off the tongue, though KOTOR isn't quite as catchy.
KOTOR sounds like it could be a Klingon name. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, that's right.
I wish to do honor to your house, Lord KOTOR, and bring justice to your family name. That kind of stuff. It really,
Yeah.
it makes me think of the tyrant Molar that Worf always talked about.
Yes. Although Knights of the Old Republic rolls off much better than this.
And here we go. This is the area where he has no business talking about it because this is what I hate about society now. The hyperpolarization is affecting everything, even fandom and stuff where there is not even politics involved because it's like you're being forced to choose between Disney canon or Legends, and he has no room to talk about Legends because he doesn't do research. He's kind of downplaying it and not being that informative.
Oh,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
so many people don't do any research. They just assume, oh, something's a popular opinion, so it's true.
It was never canon. I'm Sorrow. You have sent you new canon to the new canon. Don't talk.
Alright. Hey, I recognize that picture here, but below it. This is on the back of the game box. So anyway. Fall of the Old Republic. Despite these rumors of a new KOTOR game, I don't actually think we'll get a Knights of the Old Republic back. Dealing with the Legacy series comes with a lot of emotional baggage that a prospective developer slash publisher may not want to deal with.
Well,
Oh, like what?
the thing is, he's probably right. We're not going to get one because they just don't want to touch Legends. We're hyper polarized, so they're going to choose their own canon. And it's not that we have emotional baggage, but if we do, gee, I wonder why. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, emotional baggage because this is no longer canon. You're not continuing it from competent publishers, and look what you've done to the Skywalker bloodline, the legacy characters. Even Charles Soule kind of winked at this in his like Light of the Jedi book. The failed disaster of the ship is named Legacy Run. It's like saying the Legacy Run, he mishandled it. It's a disaster. That's kind of funny. Anyway, continue.
And he
Oh,
says
go ahead.
EA's revival of the Battlefront brand is an example here, offering mixed results both commercially and critically across the two recent entries. What fans want is a good RPG set in the Star Wars universe, not necessarily the Old Republic era itself.
And yeah, that's the thing here. He does do a lot of downplay, I guess in a political way, because he's trying to be a quote unquote journalist.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, this was a huge controversy. It wasn't mixed results, it was getting mainstream media attention, saying that they're promoting gambling. That is not
Yeah, with
okay
the loot
at all.
boxes. That was a huge thing.
I haven't played any modern games in like ever, so
And
I don't know
also
what.
saying, basically putting words in fans' mouth and saying, "Oh, this is what fans want." Well, how do you know, dude? How do you know that's what fans want?
I generally identify a bit more to the left, and it's just like I don't approve of calling fans istophobes. They're making these words lose a lot of meaning. I guess I can agree with that.
Hmm.
Oh boy, wait till you get to this one. This is here we go.
Oh, let's see. There is also the question of canonicity. At the time of writing, the KOTOR games and even the Old Republic itself exist in a gray zone of Star Wars canon.
There is no gray zone. It's Legends. It's firmly Legends. I know they're trying to market it, so it seems like it could exist in both. It says so far back it could.
Like I'm just
I don't know if that. I don't know if they put Disney stuff in there, but it's firmly Legends. Uh, they're just trying to be safe about it.
and like I
Which,
said, I'm just not a fan of mixing canons. Like just keep them
they
separate.
they they want their sheep of fans to think it could exist in both. And it's just like it's firmly Legends, absolutely firmly Legends.
It says the Old Republic is still acknowledged as an era, still which ends around 800 years before the start of the High Republic. There is a final climatic Jedi-Sith war that's canon, at which point the Old Republic reorganizes into the Galactic Republic of the films. The Sith are supposedly defeated.
That's the thing. In Legends, it was never reorganized at that point. Rusan reformations. You
Hmm.
know,
And also, there's a lot of contradictions regarding that. Like, there's a lot of things that imply that the Old Republic era did not exist. In fact, it's there was a canon source that stated the hyperdrive was like only 1,000 years old by the time of
I,
like
I,
the main movies.
I think that was from James Luceno's Tarka novel that was repurposed into the Disney canon.
So it's
Some say it could
like how does that work? What did they use to travel around if the hyperdrive didn't exist? Sleeper
oh,
ships?
Disney Star Wars has no continuity. Kenobi series. They just want SC3 to use so they're going to have Anakin and Obi-Wan, quote unquote, fight each other in the rematch of the century in 10 BBY. Anakin and Obi-Wan fought Dooku several thousand times in TCW.
And I
That
mean,
kind of
like,
stuff.
I'm not saying what I said to, bash the new canon, because, I'm kind of sick of that. But I'm just
You
pointing
know,
out one flaw of it. It's,
you know why the
continuity is
old
a mixed bag.
You know why the Old Republic is even a thing at all? Because Obi-Wan used that word back in the first movie in 1997 when it was very well known, it was very mysterious, and fans wanted more.
For over a
That's literally the
thousand generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic.
before the Dark Times, or the Mouse.
Alright. Okay, so anyway. KOTOR 1 and 2 take place over 3,000, actually very close to 4,000. So you got something wrong. Or before the events of the films, which EA's The Old Republic MMO a few hundred years after KOTOR 2. So yeah, they got one thing wrong here. They all these articles have to get at least one thing wrong. Which
Well,
shows,
it's one of the
the
better,
lack of research.
one of the better ones I've received, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
because I've
still,
seen way, like, awful articles that are just,
Eight Last Jedi, the EU is worth. I'm gonna make sure you never read it.
like, there was an article that claimed that Star Wars was a dead dying franchise after 2005 and that it was saved when Lucasfilm sold it. I'm like, did they forget about some of the three biggest things to come out in that era? TCW, Force Unleashed, and Old Republic, which were all heavily advertised.
Look at all of the forces that have left. Karen Travis, James Lucino, Matt Stover, Drew Karpyshyn, John Ostrander, Hayden Blackman, all these other artists they're gone now. So yeah, they didn't save it; they destroyed it.
And it's like they don't read their history. Like, there was a time where the Star Wars franchise was dormant and dying, and that was in the late 80s. And it was to the point where the only Star Wars stuff you could get was role-playing guides, like the West End games. And the Thrawn trilogy, that saved the franchise.
They are never gonna get. It's the one thing they like to act as if is the only EU that ever mattered, that ever existed, that even most casuals know about, that they dissect, that they brought Zahn over to act, to continue to act like they're following what George Lucas wanted, and to try to act like they don't hate the EU for some reason. It's just all a thing.
Hmm.
Anyway,
All right.
gross.
They say three many millennia provides something of a safety barrier, as I doubt events from that far from the prime canon material will be of special interest. Oh, no, there's a lot of stuff you could do, and it would be interesting. Like, I'm working, on a timeline for my post, I call it the post SWOTOR MMO era that, like, ends close to 3000 BBY. And there's a lot of interesting stuff you could do.
I'm helping Iron with it. And just as an aside, not to get too egocentric, but would like to pimp out our Discord server where a lot of fans are trying to continue the expanded universe of the fan project. Plan B, as Matt said. You
Mm.
could put the link in the description, I guess.
Yeah, if I remember to do that. This doesn't change the fact that the games are still officially non-canon. When Disney bought Star Wars and everything that came with it, it was all swept under the Legacy brand, until acknowledged otherwise. No, it was the Legends brand.
Yeah, that. But I have another takeaway is that the thing about the whole canon, the George Lucas quote when asked about sequels, he was saying he didn't want to do sequels even right after he sold it. He's saying, "I moved that treasure trove of comics and games to Kathy." He said, but he was also saying when asked about his potential sequels, Filoni keeps saying it's not part of George's universe. Past the parallel universe quotes is undermining the spirit of what he means using his talking points because what he said was there's no story to tell. It's been covered in the comics and books and video games. He said that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, how about that other thing he said? Uh, the original saga was the father, the children, and the grandchildren. Well, I mean, that's no secret to anyone. That's even in the novels. The children were in their 20s and everything.
And
He
then,
said
of
that.
course, he even said the EU was part of his saga in the reprint of Splinter of the
Splinter
Mind's
of the Mind.
Eye.
He just tells one story. He said that over and over. Vader dies. That's the end. It's just one part of a larger
He's just like, I
tapestry.
have nothing more to tell. And before you people bring up, some sort of, oh, what was it called? Story treatments. There could have been multiple ones, and it doesn't
I,
seem like a complete ideas.
my headcanon is that he didn't want to do them, but he felt this is where people get the Padawan as Filoni idea because Filoni was doing well in the fandom back then because George Lucas took a lot of it. I think Filoni had a lot more hand in the development of the sequel treatments than we want to think. He helped develop the sequels, the actual sequels, so who knows?
Hmm. I mean, he also is part of the story group as well.
Yeah.
And they claim that the best KOTOR has received so far is that the popular um, villain turned hero Revan from the original BioWare game was made canon in 2020 via the official Rise of Skywalker sourcebook. No, they did not canonize him. All they did was take the character's name and put it in the new canon. It's not the same character. They did not go through the same events and
That's
stuff that made them into the character everyone cares about. They did not
that's
canonize Thrawn. They did not canonize.
that's an Easter egg. That's nothing more. Or
Yeah,
it's
it's
rather
not the same character. Sorry.
it's why they don't want to handle KOTOR. It's why, despite fans wanting more, they've been so hesitant for years, probably with Legends too, because they just don't want to alienate that market. It's big enough to make a difference, but not big enough to be like TV and movie crowd. So I think
But
Son of Luke
no,
said it.
but no writer of this article. The best KOTOR has received so far is the SWOTOR MMO. Even though I have some mixed feelings about it, that's the best. It's far better than making Revan quote unquote canon.
I think Son of Luke said it best. Are we supposed to be happy about this?
It's like, I don't care. I'm not getting new legends. Make your own original characters that we can like, please. Like, they literally said they decanonized legends for creative freedom. But here they are using as a legends as a crux to prop up their new canon.
It's not even like they're building a story bible for the new Star Wars, or then in all the source books and the movies. George Lucas looked at the source books. For everyone who wants to say he never considered it canon, why would he do that? He did that for the movies. He did that for
He
TCW.
read the
Oh,
comics too. That's why Ayla Sakura was in the movies.
there's just so much miss out there. People just, I think they're just afraid more legends means their stuff dies out or is taken over, replaced. That does not have to happen.
And then they say that's it. Part of the rumors from early 2020 concerned bringing some of the KOTOR material into the official canon. And that could still happen, but it won't be in the way we expect or assume. And to
Yeah, that's what
that,
Frank.
and I don't care. Like I said, I'm not getting new legends. They're just.
I just want to say this. If Legends was treated as an alternate canon, a respected and equal one, I wouldn't mind in this one a black female Revan. I really wouldn't because the games gave you that kind of great freedom. I get fans don't like retcons, but I have no issues with it. It's just that it's
Mhm.
replacing the older stuff is what I dislike. So there is that kind of stuff.
And they say it's time to put our dreams of a KOTOR 3 to rest. And I find it unlikely that, in the light of Disney's push towards the High Republic, they'll be interested in greenlighting a project from an era so vague and the ancient past of Star Wars history. We need to let it go, but what we don't need it to do is give up hope for a BioWare-style Star Wars RPG. Well,
Well, I
again,
mean, the
KOTOR
KOTOR,
KOTOR was the first game was one of the best-selling games on the original Xbox.
does this
So,
guy they built off Tales of the Jedi? I'm getting some of the short stories, A Tale from the Dark Side, which is just horrifying.
oh yeah.
The Great Warrior Space War, all that stuff. It's not vague at all.
And also,
So,
it won Game of the Year in 2003. Game of the Year, so it got a lot of attention.
now, as for the High Republic, I find it funny. I saw something on one of my Discord servers. EU Legends reprints are selling better than the High Republic. I hope we can get some numbers on that, but it makes me laugh. Just like, yeah, doesn't shock me.
Let's see, they say, I feel there's enough interest in the concept and rumors circulating that we'll see something official, probably soon. And if it's going to be anything, let it be Knights of the High Republic. The legends of Revan and the Jedi Exile were excellent for their time, but we don't need them just to have a new epic journey set in a galaxy far, far away. I'm like, you don't have to tell a
Yeah,
story about Revan and the Exile. Their story is done. There's so much stuff you could do. Hell, they could do a Knights of the Old Republic set in the new Sith Wars if they wanted to.
novelizations, games, but yeah, it's just more of the same. Let the past die, kill it if you have to.
Yeah.
Move on. That's what they want. We don't need them anymore. Those stories still hold up. Novelization would sell
And it's
iconic
funny, they
novels.
say that while they praise, Revan being made canon.
The Revanchist. I bet they don't know that's his name, the Revanchist, or something.
Yep.
I do want to say they only get one shot at this. It's like a once in a lifetime generational event that the sequels were. And they really botched the ball. Even if there's potential good ideas there, the execution just didn't have it. And you only have one chance to redo KOTOR this way in your reboot, and you do it wrong, thousands of angry subscribers leaving the Old Republic, and you get a lot worse. I mean, because look at people canceling Disney Plus now with the whole Gina Carano controversy, and I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, we're not
But
going to talk about that.
those are customers that are leaving, and it's just I've never seen a company this self-sabotaging. It's beyond bizarre.
It's just, the logic just does not make any sense. So yeah, like I said, I would be interested in a High Republic game. Like, I would play that if it came out. I'd
Some
give it a chance.
Yeah. So, if you do, though, I'd say probably get a second hand, continue the EU movement stuff so they don't get the money. But at the same time, I agree with
Although
Son of Luke.
I'd probably be playing it on PC, so it would be a digital copy anyway.
Like Son of Luke said, there's absolutely no reason we can't have KOTOR 3, but there is every reason the fans should get their High Republic game. I just won't be interested in it. Like Matt Wilkins, it's not Legends. I don't care. It's not hatred. You have to have an emotion to have hatred. I don't care.
Yeah, whether or not they did do a KOTOR 3 or High Republic game, I'll be happy. Like,
You know,
yeah.
they're still playing it safe and don't know what to do, even now, 7 years later, almost 10 years later. Oh well. What
Man,
can you do?
I can't believe next year will be 10 years since the buyout.
Just people who think Kathleen Kennedy leaving would solve everything. I don't think so. They're just ignoring the flaws Filoni has, and it's just like this is not. This is simplistic thinking. This is tribal black and white thinking. It's not like the Death Star where you swoop in and one vulnerable spot blows up the whole thing. It goes far higher than that. I think it goes all the way to Disney. They're not paying Alan D. Foster's royalties.
It's basically you just treating the symptoms but not curing the disease.
Even Matt Wilkins and his group tried to get more Legend short stories as a charity for the pandemic, which is a tax write-off, by the way. They were denied that. It's just like, it's very weird. Don't you guys want a tax write-off? Oh.
Oh, boy, oy, oy, oy.
Well, at least we have Legend. Long live the expanded universe.
Alright, so any other thoughts?
Not much. Just I can guarantee it's probably gonna be more like comic books instead of the old EU, which was like Stargate, Babylon 5, all those other cable sci-fi era shows, which I would prefer. So I'm sticking with that.
Yeah,
I guess
but
if people like the comic books like Marvel or DC or whatever, go with it. If it makes them happy, that's great. It's not for
yeah,
me.
but like I said, I'm willing to give the new canon chance and credit when it does something good. So anyway,
Just
um,
secondhand or in a way that doesn't get them money.
yep. So I hope you enjoyed that, people. We'll see you whenever I make another video.
Peace.
Peace.